banana cream pie? Well, I can, and I'm going to show you how to make a raw version of one of the best sellers in all of our restaurants we've ever had. It was the banana cream pie. It didn't look very good, but it tasted just like banana cream pie. Well, over the years, I've perfected the way it looks as well, and so I'm going to show you my version of raw, vegan, of course, banana cream pie. So we're just gonna need a few ingredients, okay? What I've done is I've kind of stayed away from the nut crust this time. I'm using a lovely, sweetened, slightly buckwheat crust. Buckwheat is very powerful superfood. We should be ingesting this every day. So any way you can get your buckwheat into you. I supplement with buckwheat, either the pie crust or the buckwheaties or breadcrumbs. So we have the pie crust. The filling will be dates. I'm using a little Marcus sweet for the icing because it doesn't make my icing yellow the way maple syrup does, but it's okay if the base is a little yellow. So maple syrup, vanilla, of course some cashews, that's going to be my base, and I made some coconut cream. Okay, this is optional. It's going to make my topping very luxurious, the texture. But it'll still be good too. You know, I just want to add a little coconut flavoring to the mix. There is a recipe. You can either buy this in the can, which I'm not really too crazy about anything in a can, but I show you how to make it yourself right there. No cooking, no, just completely 100% raw. Nothing bad in it. It's very simple. It's just water and coconut shreds. I'll show you how to make it over there in that video. And you know, if you want to do extra coddling, like I do, it's going to require a little bit of almond butter and some more maple syrup because we're going to make a nice caramel sauce for the topping. Okay, so we're going to start with the crust first because the crust takes about 8 hours to dehydrate and get hard, give or take an hour or two. So the first step in doing buckwheat, creating buckwheat anything, is soaking it. So it does really plump up with water, so be careful. You know what, that is a lot, and I've already have a lot going, so I'm not gonna soak this much. But even if you do, it's a good idea. You could just make it into buckwheaties and then, or the breadcrumbs and sprinkle them on your salad, or just drink them as you pass the counter like I do out of the jar. So we have our raw buckwheat kernels in water. Here's the water. And make sure it's a couple inches above because those buckwheat kernels are going to absorb a lot of water and really plump up. So you want to, the crust you got to make a day in advance if you want to use the buckwheat crust. Or you could do the traditional nut and almond, but I was trying something different, so here we go with the buckwheat crust. This has to soak for 5 hours, and then you drain it, and then you have this going, and I just leave it on my sink, and as I spray it as I walk past it every couple hours because you want it moist in order to sprout. But it's gonna take a couple days for this to sprout some more, but that's okay. I'm still going to use it now, okay? It doesn't, if you want the extra vitamins, make it a couple days ahead and let it sprout. So what I'm gonna do is put about a few cups of this, maybe a cup and a half I got there. Okay, in the blender, and since I'm gonna be making a sweet pizza, I like to add a little sweetener to the batter, okay? And of course, vanilla extract, and just a little water, and blend. Okay, doke. Okay, that's our batter for our crust. And then you could just like, I don't know, lay out 4 little balls. I mean circles of batter. I'll just do 3. Then I take my trusty offset spatula and just go ahead and make a circle. Don't make it too thin. You don't want it too thick either. One of my students was having a hard time figuring out the offset spatula. It's just her brain didn't work that way. So I suggested, well, you can also kind of get them into perfect circles and by just hitting it on the counter surface under your tray. So see here we have 3 perfectly circled little pie crusts, and I'm going to put this in the dehydrator, and in about 3 hours I'm gonna check it, and if it's ready, if it's a little firm to the touch, then that means I'm going to go ahead and flip it, which I will show you. Come on, let's go. Okay, so it's been a couple hours. I'm gonna pull it out and flip it so that both sides get the heat. I'm going to gently place my plastic mesh over it, flip it quickly, and then peel off the Teflex sheet, and then place the metal grid under it and in the dehydrator for a couple more hours or until crispy. So 8 hours later, you have these lovely little pie crusts. You know what? If I should have went in and made little flutes with my finger the way traditional pie crusts are, but I didn't have time. But you know, you could play around with these. These are great. It's nice to have something different in the raw food world as a crust than just nuts. So I like these. These are great, and the texture's like that of a flaky pie crust. Okay, on to the filling. I have in my blender about a cup of cashews, usual suspects. Cashews. Now dates make it taste like custard. It's just lovely. So got some dates going on in there and vanilla extract. And my water. I guess that's it for the, oh, that's right. And then I was gonna shake it, okay. And then a little bit of water, so I've got the nuts soaked, about a cup of soaked cashews, 4 or 5 dates, depending on how sweet you like it. And here we go. Okay, now on to the topping. It's basically kind of the same thing. Cashews. Mark is sweet so that it stays white. That's why I like Mark is sweet in my desserts, if I want my whipped cream to look as white as possible, kind of like real whipped cream. Of course, a little vanilla extract and water. Oh, I forgot. And my optional, it'll still be good, but I got a half cup of coconut cream. Basically, all coconut cream is how you make it raw, is take some dried shredded coconut, put it in the blender with enough water, cover it, blend it, and then pour it in a big glass and just cover it and put it in your fridge. And the next day you have a lovely thick film of cream. And then there's water on the bottom, so just pick the cream off the top and save it and add it to desserts. It just makes it very luxurious, the filling and the batter that you're working with. It's optional, okay? So you do not have to do this, but if you are a food coddler like me, then here's another idea to further coddle your meal. Okay, here we go. I'm gonna add a little bit of water to get it going and blend. How luxurious. So I'm gonna go get my filling that's been in the fridge. Filling. Okay, I'm gonna take my banana. I'm mashing up my banana And then I'm going to put it in my filling. Stir that around. Okay. If you like more banana, by all means, throw in more. Okay, which crust should I use? I'll use the smaller one. It's assembly time. Okay, so there we got the beautiful crust. Gonna spoon a lovely, delicious layer of the cream on top. Okay. And then our beautiful icing. And just like spoon that over. You don't want to cover all the innards though, because you want to see that there's two different parts of the pie. For extra credit, we can do some beautiful banana slices. Now right there, this is a beautiful cream pie. Anybody would be over the moon to have this. Believe me, I know, because I've served this before. But if you want to even dote on it a little bit more, I've got some caramel sauce I made. Just a little bit of maple syrup, almond butter, and vanilla. And top it with some lovely, delicious hazelnuts. Wowzers. Wow. This looks a lot nicer than the one we served in the restaurant, but even this one's kind of falling apart. But behold, raw vegan banana cream pie. Did you see how quickly I made that? The crust is a flaky, crunchy buckwheat crust. That is so good for you. Everything here is good for you. None of the beautiful ingredients that are so healthy for you have been cooked to death. It's all raw, it's all delicious, and it's all good for you, me, the planet, and the animals. You guys, thanks so much for joining me again. I so appreciate that. I love sharing what I've learned in my decades in raw foods. So if you do make this, I hope you enjoy it as much as I have, as my customers have. Take care. Hope you guys are having a great day. Bye-bye.